Hello, welcome back to another episode of Orange Juice News and Notes from around the world of Insoles. I'm your host, Owen Kenoy, and we have my mom, Marsha, back with us. And before I kick it over to her, I just need to vent a little bit. Life is chaotic. We are moving, so we're packing boxes and whatnot. We have two toddlers running around. One is getting potty trained. The other is having some separation issues, which is super common for his age, but he just cries like no other every time you set him down. Work is moving full speed, which is fantastic, and we are blessed, but man, it is chaos. So that's why we wanted to set the scene a little bit for maybe what's going on in your life. Everyone has so much going on this time of the year, and just talk about how to focus on your health and staying healthy in a chaotic life. So, Marcia, from what I understand, you have had a very low key few weeks, right? You haven't had any chaos.
Well, I brought on my chaos, unlike you who've got little ones that
Well, I
it's
brought that on too.
well, that's fair. No, but yeah, my chaos has been a lot of travel, a lot of movement and also trying to get all my taxes in, all the preparation for the different companies. So it's been chaotic. And you know how you want to start the new year with a good health, follow all your health goals and eating and working out and all that, and that's where it gets a little derailed. I had 10 days there where I was very on task, and as soon as I got off a task, I physically feel the difference. So yeah, life is chaotic. I think it always will be, but one thing I was talking to, we have this concierge kind of health, um person who helps us, and one of the things she said is you might just wanna slow down and kind of try to get as much calm in your life as you can to get a breather. So, oh, and I have a little more control over that. You moving in the next few weeks, I don't know that you have a lot of control over that, but I think today's topic will be fun talking through, when life gets chaotic, what are some health and food benefit tips and ideas that Owen and I can share with you that we've experienced. And hopefully you can come away with a handful of ideas with that.
Yeah, so the bottom line is some routines or habits can be very useful for your overall health and wellness, but life doesn't always cooperate. So today we are going to kind of break that down and talk about some healthy habits you can establish while you're surviving the chaos.
So, one of the things is when you're traveling, which is what I've been doing a lot, is, you're constantly eating out just because you're not really able to meal prep, cook, that kind of thing. Skipping workouts, I love going to a scheduled workout class with other people. And when I'm on the road, I'm not trying to sign up for a gym and a class and that kind of thing. And, um, a lot of these decisions that I'm making with the travel, eating out, not working out just adds to a lot of fatigue and frustration. But I, I don't know, Owen, if you've got, anything that you're kind of feeling when it comes to health, but I do find it difficult to be disciplined on following the other things, but I've also found some good solutions that I'm looking forward to sharing.
Well, when you were starting to talk about traveling, I am entering like our conference season is what we call it, where we go to medical conferences and uh, meet, or I guess re-meet doctors that recommend our products and whatnot. And when you do that, really what you're doing is you're sitting at your table or your booth all day. And it's from, oftentimes like 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you don't want to just take off and leave your booth unattended if someone wants to come chat. And that's like their only moment of the day, but the bottom line is you kind of eat when you can or what you're served. A lot of the times it's just what's convenient. Or maybe you just drink coffee all day. And at the end of the day, a lot of the times I'll go out and just get like a massive takeout meal and just binge eat and then go right to sleep. And that's just, that's just not I'm sure if folks have traveled for work, many people have done that before. That's not like uncommon, but that's not a very healthy way to go through your lifestyle. So, also, I mean, just in my day-to-day life, like cooking a meal at home, isn't always practical when, one toddler might be peeing on the floor and the other has a crayon in his mouth. You just might not be able to cook the homemade meal that you want. So you just kind of take what you can get, whether that is from a food perspective or even from a workout perspective too.
Well, the other thing I was gonna say, which you missed about folks traveling, is like you're driving in a car sometimes 5 to 6 hours before you even get to the place you're going, and then you're sleeping in a hotel room, so that's not your home bed, and, so there's just, like, these anchoring on top of a 12-hour day where you have to be the hype man, focused and, positive, greeting everyone. I bring that up because that used to be my world for many years in travel or just the chaotic world Owen's talking about. But we have some really good pointers that we'll cover with you here in a moment that hopefully you can adapt to it that will help with that situation.
Yeah, so the first thing, or the first key is really identifying a few habits, or routines that really resonate with you, where you're like, "Hey, I notice that when I do this, it really helps kind of anchor my daily health and wellness." Whether that's, like drinking plenty of water. So on our previous episode, we had Chris on, and we talked about training and just like how to keep up with training. And one of the main things he always points to is just how important drinking water is and how much better that can help you feel just by getting your system better processing the food that you're taking in, and just again better hydrating your body. But also, it could be like just establishing some sort of daily movement. So I know, like for myself, but also my wife, she says that, she's a much better person when she goes and works out. So that may not always be totally practical to like go and do a 60-minute workout, but maybe you want to establish like, hey, I'm going to do some daily movement today. And I do have maybe some exercise bands or whatever it may be. So let me do like a strength resistance routine, or let me, um, I'm doing, like, for example, I'm doing a training this afternoon. So maybe I like watch that training while I walk on the treadmill, or just how do you incorporate that daily movement as something that maybe you don't negotiate. Like, hey, at some point I need to do this for the better of myself, and it's about taking care of yourself, right? There's also another thing that you could do is doing something as simple as we were just talking about eating, but make sure you have 3 square meals, and each meal has fruits, vegetables, and a protein or whatever it is that you're incorporating into your diet. So all of these things are simple and great, and it's just about finding what's important to you, and something that you want to rally around, and just making a point to get it in no matter what.
So just hearing what you're saying, so you're not negotiating, like you're like, I need to do my water intake every day. So that could be as easy as always making sure whether you're going on an airplane, whether you're driving, whatever, you've got a full water bottle ready to go. And in the airport, obviously you can't go through security with the full water bottle. So you need to just have an empty container ready to fill up on the other side. So that is very helpful. Then you can also drop into the water bottle those hydration tablets. One other really easy, lightweight thing you can travel with. It doesn't take much just to throw it in your bag. The other thing to travel with too is I heard you mention, just really trying to get your protein up. And you might be at a conference and you're served what they're serving you, which might not be a lot of protein. Or in the morning, you don't have time to make all these eggs for protein or whatever it is. So they have these amazing protein powders I travel with, and I love it because I can scoop it and put it in any water. So I got my water container, I've got my powdered protein. I set an alarm in my phone every 4 hours, take a scoop of it, mix it in. It's amazing how that will make you feel better. It gives you energy and you're getting your protein in. I have to get 90 grams of protein a day, so it's very helpful. For walking, one thing that I don't do well is like walking in, like at the breaks, whether you're at a conference or those breaks that people are in the conference, so you're not visiting with doctors, or if I'm traveling, I am at a hotel, like just getting up and like walking or park the car far away so you're forced to walk in. trying to get your steps up. Even if you're just instead of sitting at some function or at your desk, stand up. That's even a big move. If you're standing, move side to side as you're moving through your computer. Try to do those things. And then the other thing you mentioned, bedtime. So hard at a hotel. Like I just don't do well at hotels. But my husband always travels with this sound machine. It's like this little square, or he has an app on his phone if he forgets the square. So that's always something that you can easily bring along and get comfort in a normal routine are these sound machines. Um, the other thing that we wanted to bring up is just like food and meal prep, but beyond a protein powder, right? So how do you think ahead on your chaotic week or your chaotic trip that's coming? So one thing that I used to do, which is kind of gross, is I always bought those tuna packets. Have you ever seen those pouches, Owen? The tuna in a pouch?
Tuna's polarizing, but also a very healthy nutrition source. So
Yeah. So the problem is what I used to do is open it up on the airplane. Nope. Bad move. However, I'd be so hungry, and I always came with cut cucumbers, and the cucumbers I'd put in a Ziploc, and I would soak them in an apple cider stevia sweetener with seasoning, almost like a vinaigrette, and then I would have that with the tuna. It was such a quick thing I always had in my bag that would get me by to survive. But I know everyone knows there's protein bars out there. I would just say make sure you're getting the right protein bars. But my husband lives off of protein bars. So that's another one. If you don't want to do the scoop powder, like I like vanilla flavor, there's chocolate, there's all the flavors, but protein bars, there are some good ones that are just as well. And then the other trick that we always do is we always have a bag of nuts, whether it's almonds or cashews. We always carry those. And I know doctors tell us and all the medical people, yada, yada, but I always can take a handful of nuts and I can't believe how it can carry me. And then I'd say the final thing I do is almond butter, which is healthier than peanut butter. And then I carry an apple. And I like my apple like cut in a cut up, but I also understand it'll get brown if you pre-cut it. So I always cut it in fourths anyway. So at least it's easier for me to eat. It's not as big and bulky when I'm trying to eat it on the airplane. But I do that with a little container of almond butter. And I bring up almond butter because it doesn't have to be refrigerated, just like the packet of tuna, just like the cucumbers. These are things you can travel with, and you're not worrying about temperature control for the product. Another one is like if you're in the airport and you see Starbucks, they have like what do you call it? Containers of just straight strawberries or just some kinds of fruits or berries. So always grab something like that or an egg salad sandwich that you can always bring onto the plane is always a good quick fix. But Owen, do you have anything that's like your little cheat sheet or little cheat, not cheat sheet, but like a cheater idea?
yeah, I mean, for me, it's about damage control, right? So it's so easy to go with like an all or nothing mindset where it's like, oh, I didn't have like the greatest snack just now, and pizza sounds really nice and easy. So you just kind of let it compound, and then you're like, oh, I already had pizza, might as well squeeze in the dessert, and I can be better tomorrow. And it's okay to have those like cheat days or whatever, but doing damage control where it's like, hey, just because you made one choice that isn't as healthy for you doesn't mean the next choice can't be healthier for you. And also just there is I'm someone who struggles with this. I always like to shop like based on price point, but there is value in convenience. And if you're looking at even like fruits and vegetables that are pre-cut or whatever, it can be worth it. Last night I was at the grocery store, and I did pay an unspeakable amount for cut up Brussels sprouts. But it was so easy for dinner, and my wife went out with her friends, so I just like threw the Brussels sprouts right in the pan, seasoned them up, added like lemon and Parmesan or whatever, and had some chicken ready to go from before. So
That's actually a good one to remember because I always buy the bagged vegetables, the 2 servings. And you just poke it with the fork and throw it in the microwave for 4 minutes and it's like steamed, ready to go. Or the snap peas, I'll grab a bag of those for the airplane because those are easily, you can open them when you're ready and pop them. Yeah, that's a really good point, especially when it comes to vegetables for quick. It's worth the money. You're right.
It is, especially if, you're gonna pull your hair out trying to chop the Brussels sprouts at home with 2 toddlers, like in my situation. So, I gladly bought the Brussels sprouts and no regrets, actually, I would do it again.
I love it. The other thing I would say is when I really appreciate your point about, so you have a bad day eating or not doing the things you want to do. You didn't get your steps in, you didn't get your protein in, your food, you're traveling, it's chaotic. But one thing I do is I look at my calendar for a 2-week window and go, okay, I know I'm going to have these chaotic days. What can I do to prep or buy ahead of time to travel with? And where am I gonna make it up? So, yeah, I'm not gonna work out these 2 days, but I'm gonna work these other 5 when I get back. So it kinda makes me feel better when I can look at a 1 or 2-week window and decide, yes, these days are not gonna work for me, but I can catch it here. And so then I feel like you don't have as much guilt or you don't feel like you've just given up by trying to and your mindset just kind of starts defeating you too. You start deflating a little bit from maybe the momentum you had going into this travel or this moving 2-week time period or tax season where we're all trying to get our taxes in when we get home at night and that whole thing. So I would say we all say prepping is key or looking ahead, but it is worth, slowing down and doing that. So I love that you're at the store going, I'm not going to have time to chop stuff the next 2 days. I'm buying it. Worth the split or rotisserie chicken. Dang, those things are cheap. Dang, those things are good. I
Especially
can
if you have
get
a
2
Costco
meals or
membership.
3 out of those things. What's that?
Especially if you have a Costco membership.
Oh my gosh, it's embarrassing. What are they, $4? And it's like this massive chicken.
4.99.
4.99. 4.99. Yeah,
It's
those are
That'll be another
unreal.
episode, but they call that a loss leader, so we could do that in a whole
Oh,
'nother episode.
oh no, I know loss leaders. I used to purposely price things for loss leaders in my day. We don't have any loss leaders at Orange Insoles. We price everything on price one, but so Owen, for movement, I think we kind of we're talking about that as well, but anything there that we should continue to address?
Yeah, I think the idea is similar with nutrition, if you will, where it's like don't go for this all or nothing mentality just because you don't have time for your like 60-minute full routine workout doesn't mean you can't get in movement and exercise and get your heart rate up on a given day. There are easy ways to do it, even just around the house or when you get home or on the road or just whenever you have a minute. Um, Obviously, walking or standing as much as possible opposed to sitting. Like for me, I'm actually sitting right now doing this podcast, and I could totally be standing up. So that's something I'm thinking about. Like that would be way better for me. Yeah, I'll stand up,
I'm up.
do a stretch my legs. I always feel way better.
Yep. I'm
But
way up.
also, like, there are simple things that you can do, like push-ups and sit-ups. I know, Tom, Marsha's
You want
husband,
my
swears by just doing, like 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups before bed each night, and you'll be in good shape. So there are these easy things that you can squeeze in. I mentioned resistance bands earlier. Those are always very useful. And then even just, like, incorporating a stretching routine, it can be helpful before bed, in the morning, but really there's not a bad time to stretch, but just doing something like that to loosen up, the muscles and joints in your body can go a long way. So, again, it's about removing the pressure from those days where you might not be able to do that workout, but, still moving your body and not doing nothing and building really a more sustainable routine.
Yeah, I'm a big Mel Robbins fan, and so I listen to a lot of her podcasts, and one of them was for the women. A lot of women just can't do push-ups. So I know your dad does 100 a night or whatever, but, like, he has his whole life. It's just a routine he does. But for women, they're saying just try to get to 10 within the year. Just 10 push-ups, and guess what? It's okay to start on your knees. Start on your knees and get to 2. Start on your knees and get to 5. Work your way up. So if you're tired, you've had a long day, you're like, oh, I cannot do push-ups. Drop to your knees. At least you're doing something and knock them out. It's amazing how good you know, when you go to sleep. And I do like the idea of stretching because that feels good before you go to bed too, is just getting kind of stretched out. And especially, if you haven't been sitting up straight, which is another nice thing you can naturally do all day and make yourself feel better, is putting your shoulders back and doing that whole thing. But Yeah, and the other thing is I think you were mentioning is, traveling and stuff is I always throw a rubber band in my bag. Super easy, doesn't weigh anything if you have to fly and have your bag weighed in. And then you can pull it out at night. When Owen was talking about stretching, that's one of the things I have is this tube thing and hook it around your feet, stretch, do stretch your arms. There's just so many things just for 10 minutes. And it's easy to carry in your bag as well. So but yeah, and I think to your point too, you're talking about just your mental health. It can really help just mentally at the end of the day if you didn't have a great day, like just doing these couple things or mixing it up in your day might give you a little glimpse of hope while you're trying to potty train your 2-year-old.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are more stressful times of life, or more demanding times than others. So just keeping that in mind is really important too. And maybe you are just kind of in one of those phases. So that's where it is important to give yourself grace. If you're not, checking every box and had like a perfect day from a health perspective, it's okay because there are a lot of other factors going on in life, and you can't be perfect.
Well, I'm glad we talked about this today. Those are a lot of good tips we've shared. So hopefully, folks listening might be able to take those away. And if you have any that you want to share with us, we'd love you to message us with it because we can always learn from each other and we can always pop them up on a future podcast as well.
Absolutely. Like Marsha said, like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate you listening to today's episode, and hopefully, you have a few takeaways that you can incorporate into your routine. But thanks for listening to the Orange Juice podcast, and we'll be back with another episode.